morning, everybody. Matt Modi here with OddsJam, here to hammer some MLB bets for today. So I have 6 total bets for you guys today using OddsJam to find these profitable MLB bets. Obviously, we're talking about today, Tuesday, April 11th. I have 2 total runs props. I have 1 alternate total runs prop for the first 5 innings of the game, 2 pitcher props, and then 1 plus money parlay. 6 plays that I absolutely love. To do a recap from yesterday, I did this on Twitter at my Twitter handle, Jedi Modi, as you can see right here. Also, as you can see on the screen here, I went 3-3 on these 6 plays, but thanks to the fact that 2 of the 3 plays were for plus money and were a full unit, I was able to profit. Red Sox first half run line plus 100 odds cashed at a full unit. Royals Rangers under 7.5, 3/4 of a unit lost. Cubs team total under 3.5 for a full unit at -108 cashed. Lost 2 player props and then won the last player prop. Corbin under 3.5 strikeouts at plus 118 odds. That hit for 3/4 of a unit. So I'm going to try and do a recap as much as possible, make sure I'm consistent about doing these recaps. So for today, as I mentioned, I got 6 more. Before I get into it, real quick, would appreciate it if you could hit that subscribe button to my YouTube channel, Jedi Modi Sports Betting. Make sure that you get notified whenever I release a new video. And then, of course, follow me on social media as I just showed here at my Twitter handle, Jedi Modi. Let's get into it. Play number 1. We were looking at Red Sox versus Rays. I'm so used to saying Red Sox Yankees. Red Sox Rays, total runs over 8.5, plus 148 odds at FanDuel. So right off the bat, I put 3/4 of a unit on this one, 0.75 units, which for me is $75 at plus 148 odds. Most importantly, you see this column here under no vig odds. This is where all of the profitability comes into play. So OddsJam, the way it works is pulls odds from the sharpest sportsbooks, the sportsbooks that consistently do the best job at pricing odds, pulls odds from these books, then removes the vig and spits out these odds that you see in this column here, which have it priced at plus 140. So basically you can view the odds in the no vig odds column as the true line of what a market should be priced at. The most accurate line of a market, in this case, is at plus 140. But we locked it in on FanDuel at plus 148. And then if you compare the FanDuel odds to every other book, you see that we are getting a pretty good price, including the sharp sportsbooks, right? So Pinnacle is generally regarded as the sharpest sportsbook in the world. They price this at plus 129. FanDuel offers it all the way up at plus 148. So we're getting a huge gap between the sharpest sportsbook in the world and what FanDuel has to offer. Now, Red Sox Rays yesterday was a very, very low scoring game. Obviously, Rays won 1-0 in that game, but baseball is weird. It's 162 games. What happens on a night-to-night basis is sometimes you can't just say, well, they didn't score runs yesterday, so they're not going to score runs today. I love, one of my methods is the flip-flop, the zigzag method, where you zig while everybody else is zagging, or you zag when everybody else is zigging. So if people are going to say, oh, nobody scored runs yesterday, I kind of want to do the opposite of that and count on runs to be scored in the next game. No, to be fair, to be clear, this is at plus 148 odds. So I'm not sitting here telling you that this is a stone cold lock, but we're getting a really good price at plus 148 odds. That is clearly an outlier. Now, McClanahan is pitching for the Rays. He's a stud. Red Sox have a bullpen arm pitching in his first start of the year. So I could see this being a scenario where if the Rays want to start 11-0, they ding up the Red Sox pitcher. Maybe their bullpen gives up some runs at the end. But regardless, we're betting on the value here. Total runs over 8.5 in Red Sox Rays, plus 148 odds at FanDuel. It's play number 1. Play number 2, we are also locking in a total, another alternate total. This time we are locking in Tigers Blue Jays over 10.5 runs at plus 176 odds at FanDuel. So the OddsJam perfect line prices this at about plus 172, plus 171.5, essentially, Looking at the other sportsbooks, plus 176 at FanDuel, we see across the board plus 150 with Pinnacle at plus 166. So if you're ever unsure of whether the bet you're placing is a good enough outlier, compared to the rest of the sports books, all you want to do is click View Event Page, open it in a new tab, and it pulls up the screen that you see here, which is just like the entire market for the bet that we are placing, right? The entire total runs market. And what you want to do is click Show No Vig Odds, this button right here, and it does exactly what it sounds like. It removes the vig from every sportsbook that is pricing it. So if you remember, we locked in over 10.5 at plus 176. As long as the odds of the bet we placed, plus 176, beat the no vig odds of the majority of sportsbooks, then that bet is good to go. In this case, the answer is a resounding yes. So this column that you can't see because my camera is Pinnacle, this column right here, you see Penny prices this at plus 174. That is below our number of plus 176. So that is a sign that we placed a good bet. So play number 2, Tigers, Blue Jays, total runs over 10.5, plus 176 odds at FanDuel. Next up, I found a play on the OddsJam arbitrage page. Arbitrage is when you can place a bet on both sides to guarantee profit. Generally, when the odds are that far apart for the same exact play, right? We're betting on the over and the under, the same exact play, just the opposite side. When odds are that misaligned, where you can bet both sides and guarantee profit, generally one of those sports books is going to be mispriced compared to the rest of the market. And that's exactly what we have here. So we're locking in Corbin Burnes under 5.5 strikeouts, plus 122 odds at FanDuel. We're getting a really good price here. Look at where the other sports books price it, right? Minus 110, plus 100, plus 100, minus 129, minus 120. Now I get that this one's a little bit scary. Corbin Burnes is stud pitcher for the Brewers, but the Diamondbacks, they just don't strike out. That's really as simple as that. They don't have a single batter that strikes out, I believe, over 25% of the time. They just don't strike out. So while it's a little bit scary because of how good Corbin Burnes is, we're still getting it for plus money. So that's 3 plays, all for plus money. And we're at least betting on a team that doesn't strike out a lot to not strike out a lot. So the value is there. It makes sense. Corbin Burnes under 5.5 strikeouts, plus 122 odds at FanDuel. Next up, we have another. This is our first half total runs play, another under 3.5. This is at plus 136 odds at FanDuel. And again, we are getting a really good price. If you're ever unsure, let's walk through it. View event page, open it in a new tab, pulls up the screen that we see here, the total markets for first half total runs, where every book is pricing every line. Click show no vig odds. Remember, we locked in under 3.5 at plus 136 odds. Every other book, except for SBK, which is a small book here in Colorado, prices it below this number, plus 129, plus 114, and most importantly, Pinnacle at plus 129. So we are getting another good line here. Yankees, Guardians, first half total runs under 3.5. On the Yankees side, we have Garrett Cole on the mound. Hopefully, he's a stud. He shuts down the Guardians bats. On the Guardians side, they have Hunter Gaddis, young pitcher, had an okay start in his first one. So we're kind of hoping that he is able to get it together. And it's just the first half total runs under 3.5. If he gives up 3 runs in the 5th, but Garrett Cole pitches a shutout in the first 5, then we're cooking. That's a cash. So that is our 4th play for the video. The 5th one I found on the OddsJam low holds page. Low hold is very similar to a arbitrage opportunity where you're betting both sides, but on the low holds case, you're not necessarily betting it to guarantee profit, but instead to break even or close to it. The goal of a low hold, like why would you want to place it, is if you have like a deposit match or a playthrough bonus, something like that, or you're close to hitting a sportsbook's reward system's next tier, where you want to risk a certain amount of money. By risk, I mean you're going to place the bet. You're going to stake a certain amount of money to reach some sort of goal, but guarantee that you are going to break even with the actual bet itself. So you broke even on your bet, but you reached the next tier, or you hit the playthrough bonus, something like that. Again, similar to arbitrage, you can also use it to find profitable bets. So I found one betting on another pitcher to go under their strikeout prop. Alek Manoah under 6.5 strikeouts, plus 108 odds at FanDuel. Really, really good price here. If you look at the sports books, they all favor it going under, right? And when I say favor it going under, they price the under as the more expensive play. BetMGM has the under at minus 120, the over at minus 105. They're pricing more juice towards the under, which is them telling you they think it's more likely. as does DraftKings, BetRivers, Betway, Pinnacle, and PointsBet. We are getting it at plus 108 at FanDuel for plus money on a play that the majority of sportsbooks think is more likely to go under. Similar to the play earlier, the Tigers, although they stink, they just don't strike out. I think they have one batter that strikes out over 25% of the time. Manoah didn't have a great start in his first outing this year. Not that that means everything, but we're just counting on him to not strike out 7 batters against a team that doesn't strike out a lot. So he could still go 7 innings. It just might not have a lot of strikeouts, might not have 7. And the value is there. So that's play number 5. The last play is my parlay. And I took 2 pitchers who are studs, who are playing against bad teams, and I parlayed them at 1 strike below their total. So Aaron Nola over 5.5 strikeouts, Shohei Ohtani over 6.5 strikeouts. You see Aaron Nola up here. My camera's blocking it, but you can still see the Aaron Nola over 5.5 strikeouts. Parlayed together for plus 115 odds at FanDuel. So I put a full unit on this bad boy Nola going against the Marlins. Nola had a bad outing in his first start, but he was able to recover in his second one against the Yankees. Strikes out a ton of hitters. It's also his first start at home, so we'll get up in front of the home crowd. Ohtani against the Nationals. Enough said. Nats don't strike out a ton. They have a couple batters that strike out a decent amount, and that's why I like the Ohtani one. So the Nats aren't necessarily a strikeout team, but they do strike out enough, and Ohtani is a stud. So this is play number 6, and that is going to be it. So 6 plays for you guys to lock in. If you're tailing, comment and let me know. Other than that, appreciate everybody watching. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe, hit me up on social media, and have a good one.